Lee Haney had won the Mr. Olympia title 8 consecutive times, more than any competitor before him. He was the first person to surpass Arnold Schwarzenegger's record, and he accomplished it younger than anyone else in the competition's history. The physique he built during those years remains a reference point in the sport decades later. Then, in a post on Instagram, his son announced that Haney, now 66 years old, is in need of a kidney transplant. Haney had been managing a kidney condition for much of his life, one he was born with, unrelated to his career in competitive bodybuilding. The condition had remained in the background for years before reaching this point. To understand the significance of this moment within the fitness world, it helps to know where Haney came from and what he built before he ever stepped onto the Olympia stage. He grew up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, born on November 11, 1959. As a teenager, his athletic focus was football. He was a strong player with an unusually developed frame for his age, and his goal was to compete at the professional level in the NFL. Weightlifting at that stage was supplementary, a way to build strength for the field. A leg injury ended that path. Haney shifted his focus entirely to bodybuilding. He had long been drawn to images of physical strength. He cited figures like Samson from the Old Testament and Hercules from Greek mythology as early influences, and covered his bedroom walls with photographs of bodybuilder Robbie Robinson, known as the Black Prince. Those images shaped what he wanted to build. Haney began training at his local YMCA in South Carolina, where he came under the guidance of coach Danny Rogers. Rogers assessed the young athlete's proportions and told him directly that he possessed one of the most balanced physiques he had seen, and that bodybuilding was a path on which he could compete at the highest level in the world. That assessment set the course for everything that followed. Lee Haney did not have a comfortable path to the top. As a teenager, he walked away from a college scholarship to pursue bodybuilding, a decision that by any conventional measure looked like a serious mistake. In the early 1970s, a young black man from a small town in South Carolina turning down a scholarship represented a significant sacrifice. That scholarship was a concrete opportunity. He set it aside to train. He did eventually return to education, graduating from Spartanburg Methodist College with a degree in youth counseling and juvenile corrections. That choice reflects something consistent about Haney as a person. Even while competing at the highest levels, he maintained an orientation toward community service. His competitive career began with a win at Mr. America in the teenage division in 1979 at age 19. 3 years later, at 23, he earned his pro card after winning the 1982 World Amateur Championships in the heavyweight division. The decision to leave school had produced the result he was after. He was now a professional bodybuilder. His first Mr. Olympia appearance came in 1983. The reigning champion that year was Samir Bannout, and Haney placed third. It was a strong debut by any standard. He returned the following year in noticeably better condition. Lee Haney won his first Mr. Olympia title in 1984 at age 24. Over the next 8 years, he did not lose the title once. From 1983 to 1991, he competed in 16 professional shows and never placed lower than third. He accumulated 11 professional wins, 8 of which were Mr. Olympia championships. At 24, he became the youngest person to win the Mr. Olympia, a distinction that earned him an entry in the Guinness Book of World Records. In 1986, he received 2 perfect scores at the same competition, the first time that had occurred in the sport's history. His competition during this period was serious. Rich Gaspari finished second to Haney in 1986, 1987, and 1988. Lee Labrada challenged him consistently across multiple years. His final title in 1991 came over a then-emerging Dorian Yates, who went on to win 6 consecutive Olympia titles starting the following year. Haney retired after that 8th win in 1991, surpassing Arnold Schwarzenegger's previous record of 7. He did not lose the title. He retired while holding it. His training philosophy contributed to that longevity. His widely cited principle, stimulate, don't annihilate, reflected an approach that prioritized form and long-term physical health over maximum load. During a period when many competitors were pushing their bodies to extremes, Haney trained with a calculated restraint. That approach sustained his performance across a full decade of professional competition. He was at the height of that career when an undiagnosed condition was already present in his body. Lee Haney was born with polycystic kidney disease, a genetic condition in which fluid-filled cysts develop in the kidneys, leading to progressive loss of function. The condition was diagnosed approximately 28 years ago. Haney later learned that other family members had also been affected, confirming its hereditary nature. He carried the disease through his entire competitive career without knowing it, and only discovered it when a physical symptom sent him to see a doctor. In a YouTube interview with Muscular Development, Haney stated that he discovered the disease after finding blood in his urine. That visit led to his diagnosis. What followed was perhaps the more striking part of the story. Throughout his competitive career, Haney had no knowledge of the condition. His diet, built around chicken, eggs, and fish with little to no red meat, had, without his awareness, been protecting his kidneys during the years he competed at the highest level of the sport. He won 8 Mr. Olympia titles with polycystic kidney disease, All 8 came while cysts were developing in his kidneys, a process his diet and discipline appear to have slowed, though doctors consider the condition's progression inevitable over time. Polycystic kidney disease is progressive. As cysts grow, they interfere with normal kidney function, and for many patients, function eventually declines to the point where dialysis or a transplant becomes necessary. For Haney, after more than 2 decades, that point has arrived. On March 22, 2026, Haney's son Joshua shared a post on social media stating that one of his father's kidneys was failing and asking for help in finding a living donor. The message was direct: "First time sharing this, my dad needs a kidney donor. Please keep him in your prayers and share if you can. He is a blessing to so many others and breathes life into all he does. There is more work to do." The post spread quickly across social media platforms, and a number of figures from professional bodybuilding expressed their support in the comments. But alongside that support, unverified reports began circulating that Haney had died, that the post from his son was a memorial rather than a call for help. Haney responded to those reports directly on Instagram, stating that he was alive and well. He described the speed at which the false information had spread as appalling. The clarification came at what was already a difficult moment for his family. "My faith has always been my superpower." In a recent Instagram post, Lee Haney addressed his followers directly, confirming that he is in need of a living kidney donor. He described his approach to the situation as proactive rather than passive, and his tone throughout was composed and resolute, consistent with the character he demonstrated across 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles. The line his followers recognized most readily was this: "My faith in the Lord has always been my superpower." Not his training, not his titles, faith. Haney clarified that his kidney condition is congenital and unrelated to his bodybuilding career or any use of performance-enhancing substances. That distinction is significant. It separates his diagnosis from any narrative connecting kidney disease to competitive bodybuilding. This is a condition he was born with, one that his lifestyle may have helped manage for decades, but not one of his own making. He noted that his wife of 43 years and their 7 grandchildren would be deeply grateful to anyone willing to come forward as a donor. This is not the first time the bodybuilding world has faced a situation like this. Flex Wheeler, a 4-time Arnold Classic champion, was diagnosed with a hereditary kidney disease and underwent a transplant in 2003. When that transplant later began to fail, fellow competitor Guy Cisternino offered one of his own kidneys. The bodybuilding community has, at critical moments, demonstrated a willingness to support its own, and this is one of those moments. Lee Haney's 8 Mr. Olympia titles are often treated as the defining measure of his career. They aren't. After leaving competitive bodybuilding in 1991, Haney opened a gym in Atlanta, Georgia, Lee Haney's world-class fitness center, applying what he had learned about training and nutrition into a facility where recreational athletes and professionals trained side by side. He went on to work with some of the most prominent names in professional sports, including Evander Holyfield, Gary Sheffield, Dwayne Johnson, and Shannon Sharpe, among others. He also established a non-profit retreat for children called Haney's Harvest House, situated on a 40-acre farm in Atlanta. The property includes nature tours, a petting zoo, and a summer camp serving 12 to 15-year-olds. In 1999, President Bill Clinton appointed Haney as chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports. He served in that role until 2002, becoming the second Mr. Olympia to hold the position. He has authored books, hosted television programs on ESPN and the Trinity Broadcasting Network, and in 2015 founded the Lee Haney Games, an NPC bodybuilding and fitness competition in the Atlanta area that also serves as a fundraiser for Haney's Harvest House. Throughout his post-competitive career, Haney has been a consistent advocate for longevity and sustainable training, a counterweight to the emphasis on extreme mass accumulation that has long characterized the sport. Haney is widely regarded as one of the greatest bodybuilders in history, holding the record for most Mr. Olympia titles alongside Ronnie Coleman, a record that has not been surpassed. Coleman himself has named Haney as one of his early influences. Haney is currently 66 years old and lives in Fayetteville, Georgia. Lee Haney's kidney condition has drawn widespread attention, not only because of the public's regard for him, but because it raises questions the sport of bodybuilding rarely addresses directly. The demand for donor kidneys far exceeds the available supply. In 2025, more than 90,000 Americans were on the waiting list for a kidney transplant, and many will not receive a matching organ in time. Haney is not exempt from that reality. Public recognition and athletic achievement have no bearing on transplant eligibility or disease progression. What has prompted thousands of people to share his story is in large part how Haney himself has responded. His public statement was measured and direct. He described his condition as something he is approaching proactively, rather than waiting for it to worsen. He is not yet on dialysis. He continues to train. The philosophy he built his career on, stimulate, don't annihilate, appears to be shaping how he is navigating this chapter as well.